Welcome to week 6 credit crush assignment. This is one of my favorite assignments for the whole semester. And so we've posted the new assignment at Money Study Group in your course. So you can see the instructions there. They're also going to be posted obviously in Blackboard. So let me just go through the assignment from the instructions side, and then I'll take you into a planning portal. We'll use an example. I think we're going to use Sammy this week, and I'll show you from Sammy's financial planning portal how Sammy was able to take his loans and apply some specific strategies, the same strategies that you're going to apply in your financial planning portal. And you're going to get to see right in front of your eyes how much difference it makes just to have a few simple strategies for paying off debt. That's what this lesson is about. That's why the title is Credit Crush. We're going to crush your credit. Now, I know last week I asked you and incentivated you to add a mortgage, a car loan, and I asked you to go on a spending spree with your credit card. So those are the 3 basic loans we're going to use to dissect this week's assignment, to teach you some simple yet very powerful strategies for paying off debt. So the whole purpose of this assignment is to teach you the high cost of credit cards and how you can manage those credit cards and pay that debt off as quickly as possible. So also, I wrote out a few things. We want to teach you how to eliminate that debt quickly, and that way you have the funds freed up to start investing to build wealth. So you can read all about it in your assignment. I'm not going to read it here. What I'd like to do is go in and show you what we're going to do to apply these strategies. Now, I'm going to do it from my end. I've taken some screenshots, and you need to be aware that you will be taking screenshots. So if you don't know how to take a screenshot by now and save it in a very efficient way, I would encourage you to ask me about an extra credit assignment. I think we could use an assignment, a tutorial for quickly grabbing screenshots and saving them and then importing them into a document. So I'm hoping that everyone by now knows how to do that in your sleep, because in this assignment, you're going to grab quite a few screenshots, about 10 probably. And hopefully by now it's already easy. If it's not, it will be by the end of this assignment. So let me jump over into Sammy's financial planning portal. Give me just a second. Okay, here I am in Samuel Adams in his planning portal, and you'll notice that I'm in his profile. So here at net worth, so if you're not totally comfortable getting your way around, finding your way around in your planning portal, that's where you're going to start out. You'll start out, this is where you add accounts. Hopefully by now you've linked your account, your credit card, any accounts that you want to flow into your financial plan. It's a really helpful tool. I know some of you have had a little trouble getting certain local or smaller institutions to come into the aggregator. But if that's the case for you, I'm sorry, we're working on improving that. But for most banks and most credit card companies, it's pretty easy to link your account. So that makes things super easy. What we're going to work on in this assignment, though, are some accounts that were added manually. So today we're going to look at Sammy, his account and his loans. So you'll notice we'll start out with the mortgage. We've got a mortgage loan right here, and you can see that it's a mortgage, and it's got all of the information that we have listed in your assignment. So check your data card, each of these loans. I call this a data card. So this is where you're going to put your data in relative to your mortgage. So you're going to want to grab a before and after screenshot. But right now, well, actually on the mortgage, the car loan, the credit card, and the student loan is optional. So if you have a student loan, you can grab the screenshot of that too. But I just want to make sure that you've got the correct data in your data cards. So for your mortgage, your car loan, your credit card, and if you have a student loan, I would encourage you to use that too. You don't get extra points, but you're going to see why it's a really good idea for you to take whatever real loans you have and put them into the mix here. So I know you're mostly all working with fake data because I asked you to pretend that you were earning your income based on your major in college. The assumption is you graduate, you got the job, you nailed the job that gives you the income that would be the average income for your major. So that's the assumption we're building your plan on, is that you've graduated, you have an income, and now you need to buy a house. So you went shopping, you found a house that was kind of at the limit of what you could afford at your new salary, and you did a little research to find that out. I just want to make sure you've got your data card correctly entered, and here's why. If you don't, if you're missing pieces, I will deduct points from your grade on this assignment. But in addition to that, as you're building your financial plan, each of these components are going to be part of your capstone assignment, which is worth 200 points. So you don't want to be you want to pay attention to the details, because this is going to be, you're building your capstone. By the time we get to that assignment, that 200-point assignment, most of the work will already have been done if you're paying attention and keeping up. And this is kind of a warning to, pay attention to the details, because I'm going to be looking at these data cards when I grade your assignment. So mortgage, car loan, credit card, and if you have a student loan, just grab a snapshot, a screenshot of those cards. You'll need it for your article. So now, I'll pretend we've already got credit cards here. Sammy has more than one credit card, but there's his data card for the Chase credit card. Don't forget to give your credit card a name. I'd use the name of the institution just to keep it simple. So we've got the credit card, we've got the mortgage loan, and here's the car loan. So the Lexus for Samuel. Make sure you've got all that data completed. That's going to flow into the next section we're going to jump into now. You'll notice I'm going to click on Dashboard. So instead of on the top menu on the right where it says Profile, I'm going all the way to the left, and I'm going to click on Dashboard, and then there are 6 subcategories, and I'm going to click on Debt. We're focusing on debt strategies, so this is where we're going to be in the plan. Okay, so now we have a picture of all of the debts that Sam has. So Sam has some debts, and you see a picture here of the balances for his debts, and that chart just shows if Sam pays off this debt with the payment amounts that we entered in those data cards, this is what it's going to look like all the way out until 2054. So now let's jump into these top 3 tabs: strategy, payment, and details. So payments, these are the payments that Sam added in his data cards. So that's pretty simple. So that just shows us what are we basing our projections on. Our projections for the debt, for all these debts in Sammy's life, are based on these payment amounts and also these interest rates. So that's why that data was important. And the balances. So again, make sure the balances are correct in your data cards and the interest rates are correct, and the minimum payments are helpful too, but we're really focusing on this column here, the current payments. And the proposed payment and the current payment, they haven't changed yet because we have not yet applied any debt payment strategies, which is what we're going to do, which is what makes this assignment really helpful. So up to now, we're just kind of building the data, which is always a big part of a financial plan, is getting the right data into the plan. Next, we have the details. So you'll notice right here there's a drop down where you get to select each different loan. So I want you to do that. I want you to select each of your loans and just take a look and notice we've got annual and monthly. So annual gives you a, it gives you a better snapshot. But let's look at the credit card, Chase credit card. So we have annual. Now I want to pause here and take you back to my lecture last week as we talked about Billy. Remember Billy and Sally and Billy's F-150? Remember that story? I want you to flash back to that story and remember that what we did was we built a scenario where Billy, thanks to Sally's great salesmanship, Billy invested $3,500. In fact, I think I did, yes. So here we go. Flashing back to that story, Billy ended up spending $3,500 on those tires, remember? And we did the math. We figured out, okay, if Billy had an interest rate of, I don't remember what number we used, but we used a certain interest rate, and we multiplied the interest by the balance and then divided it by 12 and then applied that monthly interest to the balance and gave us a new balance. And then we made the minimum payment and subtracted that. And then the next month we had to multiply the new balance by the interest, divide the interest by 12 because it's only 1 month. You remember how we did all that? And I did that kind of just because I wanted you to see how simple it is to extrapolate a credit card interest payment. So let's look at that from a different perspective using the power of your financial planning portal. So here we have Sammy, and his tires, $3,500 beginning balance. And so just look at the interest here. This is annual. So he's paying, that's the interest. If you just go down the column and you'll see that the interest is going up, up, and up. And he ends up with a $233,000 balance. And his ending balance is going up because he's paying the minimum. The credit card companies love clients like Billy or Sam or anyone who's dumb enough to pay interest on their credit card month after month and not really recognize. I mean, how stupid would you have to be? I shouldn't say that because so many people I know are this stupid. They pay interest on their credit card and maybe they don't know, maybe they don't care, can't even imagine. Well, I can imagine because I was one of those people until my wife sat me down and showed me, and I got really angry at what a silly, stupid thing I'd been doing, paying interest that was actually going up, and it would continue to go up into perpetuity because I wasn't smart enough to recognize that it was basically a scam. It's like, it shouldn't even be legal, but it is legal, I promise you. And so this loan, $3,500 was the original balance. Now we're looking at the annual. Let's go to monthly. Now if we go to monthly, the interest on the month. Now this software program isn't doing nearly as good a job of calculating to the penny what the interest is. We were doing it with a little bit more sophisticated math. This is more rounding. So you notice that the monthly interest only goes up every 5 months. And then it goes up $1. But the total payment stays the same. The balance is going up. And it's basically the same idea. So the work that we did in that lecture in Zoom, and you were doing the math for me, this gives you a quick, easy, automated way to see what happens to the balance, what happens to the interest, and if the payment stays the same, how you basically lose money. So we're looking now at monthly, and this is important. I want you to do this with your loans. Even though they're pretend, I want you to see how this works. So that's what we're looking at here on the tires for Billy. And we could look at, any of his loans, his credit card. We've got the same basic thing now. We're in monthly, and you notice the interest is going up, which means the balance is going to continue to go up, and the ending balance is going to continue to go up, and that's the same trap on this credit card. And I don't even remember what interest we have for Billy. So let's look at his car. Interest on his, now this loan was set up in such a way that he's actually paying it off. You see that, right? You see that? It's pretty easy to see, and you'll be able to see that on your loan. So that's the car loan. I keep saying Billy. This is Sammy. Let's see, and he does have a student loan. So we've got student loan. Looks like it's going to get paid off. See, the numbers are going down, so that's not a terrible loan. Well, let's check out the mortgage. The mortgage, the beginning balance, is it going up or down? Hey, look at that, it's going down. So this is a 30-year mortgage, I believe, and we're on monthly, so we'd have to scroll way down to see it. But if I go to annual, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. So doesn't even look like it's 30. It's oh, I know. This loan, if we go back to the data card, we will say that this loan was incepted in 2010. So there's only 20 years left. You might want to pay attention to that field on your data card. I didn't even think about it on Sam's. But that's what we have. This is a loan. It's a 30-year loan initially, but according to the data we put in, it was originated in 2010. So this loan is going to be paid off after 20 years. And you notice that the interest is going down, the balance is going down, and I don't understand how it's got a beginning balance of $170,000. Oh, we're making a really big payment in that last year. I'm not sure how that worked out. It looks like a mistake. If that were yours, if you submitted this and I saw that in your screenshot, I'd be like, what did we do? I'm not going to take a minute to figure that out at the moment. But what I am going to do now is I'm going to take us back to the strategy page, and this is where it gets really, really interesting. So you're going to take a snapshot of your mortgage, just a snapshot of this. I do annual, just so I can see, does your payment structure work? Or is it going up like we saw in the Chase credit card? So you're going to take a screenshot of that. And again, this is annual. So this goes way down. I'd have to shrink my screen a lot to get that on one screenshot. And you know how to do that. I'm doing Control minus. I'm on a Mac. It's amazing how that works. So back to the way, my eyes aren't that good, so I like to have stuff big. Anyway, that's inside baseball. So that's what I want. I want a screenshot of the mortgage, of the car loan, and the credit card. And if you have a student loan, grab that too. And you might even get extra points if you put your own student loan into this. So now we're going back to strategy. So we got strategy, payment, details. Strategy, payment, details. Strategy, we haven't done anything yet. Payment, that shows the payment that we have set up. And then details shows the details. If I ever ask you to jump into the cash flow on these loans, that's what we're looking at. We're looking at, the cash flow, the interest, the balance. So that's what you see in details throughout your planning portal. So now let's go to action items. I really just want you to try one strategy. And instead of this payment priority, same priority for all debt, let's go ahead and change that to highest to lowest interest rate. And let's just see what happens. So I'm going to hit refresh and see what happens. So nothing happened. I hit refresh, I changed this, nothing happened because I didn't change the strategy in each of these different loans. So for the mortgage, I'm going to use the proposed strategy, which is highest to lowest interest rate. That's the strategy. Now, you guys should know, typically I don't have my clients doing their own strategies. This is what I'm doing back on my workbench at the office as I'm working on a financial plan. But I'm teaching you how to build your own financial plan, and I've given you access to make these changes. I would typically not generally do that for a client. This is kind of a do-it-yourself hybrid, and that's what you're getting to do. So do it yourself, but this is how you do it. You first change the strategy, and then you have to apply it to your loans. So I'm going to apply it to all of them. I'm going to say I want to use this proposed strategy and see what happens. So Sammy here has more loans than you will, but let's just see what happens. Now notice we have a total monthly payment of $2,060, and we're not changing that. We're keeping it the same. And that's all of the loans that Sam has, $2,000 a year. A month, $2,000 a month. So I'm going to hit refresh and see what happens, and I hope this works. Okay, so notice it says a total savings of $520,000 and 160 months sooner. So grab a snapshot, a screenshot of that. Just go ahead. I don't know how you do a screenshot, but that's how I do a screenshot, and I would call that strategy 1. Actually, you could call it highest to lowest, but I'm just going to grab that screenshot, and in my software I use this cool thing called Cloud App. I'm going to put that in my Credit Crush category so that I can have it for later. So that's the after. Before there was nothing. It said there's total 0 savings and there's no change because you hadn't changed anything. So you see that? Now that's just the snapshot. Notice we've got proposed and current. Proposed is that mountain of debt is shrinking pretty fast. The current, though, is the blue. That's what it looks like if you don't pay it off. And I just realized why that mortgage had a huge payment at the end. It's because Sam was paying less than the amortized amount. So he wasn't paying enough to pay it off in 30 years. And so he got hit with a big payment at the end. I just realized that's what happened. So anyway, this is what I want to see a snapshot of, a screenshot of, is I want to see what happens when you change from the same priority for all debt to the highest to lowest interest rate. Now that's just the summary. Okay, that's just the debt management summary screen that tells you what the big result, the big outcome is. But let's go look at what happens in the payments. Now, you should grab the payment. Well, actually, you don't even have to because you've got current payment and proposed payment. So let's grab a screenshot of that because that could be really handy to kind of bring your whole discussion at the end of this assignment together. So this one screenshot will mean that you don't have to tell me much, right? This screen is going to tell me a ton. So I'm going to say summary. That should be payment summary. Payment summary. Summary. Payment summary dash strategy 1. That's oops. Yeah, I'm going to save that. I'm going to make sure I save that in the right category so I can find it later. So next semester I don't have to, well, I might put my own article together. So look at this. This is just basically a list of the payments based on the new strategy, right? It's a very simple concept here. So we've got the interest rates, the minimum payments there, the current payments, and the proposed payments. So what happens? According to this strategy, my recommendation using this strategy, if you were my client, is I'd say let's pay the minimum. Let's pay less on the mortgage than we're currently paying. Let's pay the minimum right now because that's the lowest interest rate. So what's the highest? It's this Chase credit card. So the proposed payment, oh no, the highest is the tires. So we're going to pay $248 a month to get the tires paid off. And that's kind of what we're going to do. But that's just right now. Let's go to details. This is where I think it really becomes very cool. So let's just look at details. Now we've got annual and we've got the credit card, the Chase credit card. Let's look at the tires. Look at that. So by changing the payment, highest interest rate first, and by utilizing the total payments per month without changing that at all, because remember what we're doing here is we're using the same payment per month that we were using when we started. But what we've done is we're now using kind of a snowball effect to pay off not the smallest, like Dave Ramsey would say, which is not a bad idea. From a psychological perspective, paying off the lowest balance first, we can look at that. In fact, let's do that real quick. Let's say lowest to highest balance. Now you see the number there, 520 grand, 167 months sooner. So I'm just going to change and I'm going to refresh, and let's just see. So it looks like it's about the same. Now, coincidentally, it is the same because if you look at the balances, you'll see that the account with the highest interest rate also has the highest or the lowest balance. So it's not a really easy, on this particular scenario, it's kind of not, but do it for yourself. I mean, Curious George wants to know. For you, you should want to know. Play around. I'm hoping by now you're not just doing these assignments to get a grade, but you're actually seeing the power of planning, the power of strategies. So that's pretty much it for this assignment. I mean, I want you to play around. I want you to show me what you found, but don't forget to go into the detail, because this is, in fact, I think in your assignment, I want you to grab a screenshot of, well, I want you to tell me about it for sure. And if a screenshot makes it easier for you to tell me about it, by all means. So let's look at the mortgage. Notice the mortgage is even paid off sooner, because what happens is the payment on the mortgage is going to go up. As money becomes available, the payment's going to go up. And in fact, instead of having that balloon payment at the end of 30 years, which would be the end of 20 years, because now we're doing 20 years and it's actually getting paid down, and it's totally paid off without a balloon. And actually, the last payment of the year is less instead of 177 grand. Remember that? That was a tragedy. So look at the Lexus. The Lexus gets paid off because of the interest rate being a little bit higher. And you can go into the monthly and see what happens month by month. So the payments are staying the same, but the balance is going down. Even the interest is going down. So I don't mean to make you dizzy by scrolling up and down, but I want you to scroll up and down and look at your own payments and see what's happening. So this is the credit card. And the main thing I'm looking at is, did the balance go down? And it is. It's going down slowly. Is it going down? Oh, yeah, it's going down. The beginning balance is going down. It's going up and down. I guess it's, we're doing monthly, that's why, okay. So check it out. I'm a little confused at the moment, as you can probably tell, but if we go annually, it gives you a much quicker snapshot. So there you have a very clear, concise picture of what happens to this credit card. So there's one more thing I want to do on strategy. So under action items, and I want you to do this. So again, this whole scenario up until this point has been based on using the same monthly payment. Okay, so Sammy starts out with $2,000 a month and he stays there, but he makes a huge impact on the outcome, because he eliminated the highest interest rates first. So that's the gold of this assignment. The goal and the gold. I did say gold on purpose. So now what I want you to do is, let's just say that Sammy is going to get really serious about paying off his debt. So instead of just paying $2,000, let's say he pays an additional $1,000 a month. What happens? We hit refresh. He's 271 months sooner. And we could then go and we could look at the details, and we could see that each of these loans gets paid off even faster. So I'm just clicking through his different loans, and I want you to do the same thing for yourself. They all get paid off faster because Sam has decided to add an additional $1,000 a month. What if he were to double down? Instead of 1,000, he just went to almost over $4,000 a month. What happens then? It doesn't move the needle that much. It doesn't move the needle that much in terms of how fast he gets out of debt, because it was moving the needle really fast before. But let's just look at it. So now he pays off his mortgage, which is the big thing. He pays off his mortgage after 2021, so like in less than 10 years. Now, here's the beautiful part about all of this, and we're not going to talk about investing today, and we're not going to talk about retirement planning today. But what we're going to do is eventually you're going to have an assignment where you're going to have to calculate the cost of your retirement, and your probability of success is going to start out at 0, because right now Sam doesn't have any assets because we haven't set up any investments for him. But that's what we're going to do. We're going to set up some investments, because Sam, just like you, if this were a true scenario, he just figured out a way to free up his income so that instead of paying wasted money on credit card interest, he's now got money freed up so he can start to invest and build wealth. So the whole idea of becoming a millionaire by the time he's 50, it's not a pipe dream. It's a real deal. And it is for you too. But you have to learn how to apply a few basic, simple strategies for paying off debt. I hope you learned a ton from this assignment. I look forward to reviewing your work, not to see if you got the data cards right. I hope you do. You'll need to get all the points you want to get. But mostly what I'm hoping for, what I'm looking for, is I want to hear you tell me, wow, that makes so much sense. I totally get it, and I'm going to do it. That's the whole point of this assignment. The Credit Crush assignment is for you to really get the high cost of credit and to learn how to not be duped by the credit card companies who want to sell you their product, which makes them money. And their product is credit. And so this Credit Crush assignment is designed to give you the equipment to crush your debt, to crush your credit, your debt. So thanks for watching. I'll see you in the next video.